Hello and welcome to your next instalment of Weekend Warm-Up. We are live, coming to you from the sun-soaked, soul-stirring setting of the Hungarian, where heat isn't just in the air, it's on track, it's in the garages. The countdown is very much on. Just 2 weeks and we get a break. We go on our summer holidays. Lauren Mekkies gets to go home and do his laundry. But before that, we have a high precision, high demanding track ready to wrestle with. High expectations, of course, for McLaren as well coming into this weekend. And speaking of high expectations, we bring you the dream team of Lawrence Barretto, our F1 correspondent, race car driver James Hinchcliffe. Sorry, I'll say it in a normal way one day. And F1 strategist Ruth Buscombe. Guys, welcome. Isn't it great to be here in the sun? Conditions are very different to last time out. But Lawrence, it's also very different being in the pit lane because we've got 2 brand new buildings. Talk us about what's changed.
I can barely recognise the place, to be honest. The organisers have done a great job. They've done this swathing new pit building, new garages for the team, the personnel, an incredibly new grandstand on the other side of the track for the fans as well. And they've done this all in a year for their 40th anniversary. Fair play, guys.
Yeah, I mean, they have been working very, very hard all through the winter to make it look as beautiful as it does today. James, talk us through where we're at. Sweet 16 points now between the 2 McLaren drivers. This one has a lot of expectation riding on it.
It definitely does. You know, and being the last one before that summer break, everybody wants to go into that time off with a little bit of momentum. Last thing you want to do is have a bad race here going into that time off. So every driver, every team is looking for a strong one here. And look, we've had surprise results here before, surprise podiums, maybe a cheeky surprise win. So even drivers further down the field coming here with a little bit more hope than normal.
Yeah, and Ruth, we also get surprise weather, do we? We never know. Is the sun going to shine? Is it going to rain? If you look into your crystal ball, what is going to happen this weekend?
Well, I don't really know, but right now the forecast is predicting yet another topsy-turvy weekend. So tomorrow looks fairly sure to be hot, summery, about 50 degrees track temperature. Saturday for that qualifying session, 40% chance of rain, but it could still be hot. But then we get to Sunday and it gets really, really interesting for our race start. Between 40 to 60% chance of showers and much cooler temperatures, around 31 degrees track and low 20s. Air could change absolutely everything. Round here, it usually does.
Okay, so basically you're saying I need to pack my brolly and pack my factor 50. Got it, right. We will come prepared. Now, last time out, it was literally 4 days ago, we were treated to an absolute showstopper in Spa. Here's how it all went down.
Welcome to Spa. The starting procedure has been suspended. The rain is borderline biblical. We are ready to get the Belgian Grand Prix underway. Let's go racing at one of the great circuits on the planet.
Who's got the bravery through a rouge?
Look at how close Oscar Piastri is to his teammate. The 2 contenders for the title, side by side. Oscar Piastri to the race lead. Max Verstappen is looking very confident up against Charles Leclerc. He's got a chance to try and go around the outside of Puan corner.
I think that won't be quite slick. I think you have to put slick now.
Piastri pits. He wants the slick tyre. Look at this. He's nearly 3 wide through Blanchimont. That is not a good idea. Lewis Hamilton trying to unleash some Spa magic.
Norris knows that this is it, it's all or nothing.
That could be the moment that the Grand Prix is decided. Oscar Piastri wins.
Let's go. Nicely done.
So a brilliant win there for McLaren, and Oscar Piastri puts him right at the top of the driver's standings by 16 points. Lawrence, that is a 6th win from him from 13 races. He is really turning into Mr. Consistent now.
Fair play to him, and especially as it came off the back of that British Grand Prix where he felt so hard done by the fact that he lost that win. Even a week later, he was still frustrated, irritated, annoyed that he'd lost that win. And I really think he fed into that when he performed all the way across the Belgian Grand Prix weekend. A track that he loves, but one that he really smashed the field apart in terms of the performance that he delivered there. So he heads to Hungary with a ton of confidence. I can't blame him.
Yeah, and it's a nice point to do it at this point in the season before we go into the break. But Hinch, let's talk about that bold move from Oscar Piastri at the start of the race. I mean, wow, I think it stunned all of us, didn't it?
Well, look, on Saturday after the sprint pole, he said maybe not the best place to start pole at Spa. And sure, Max got it done in the drive from second, making that pass after Eau Rouge. But to do it in the wet, that commitment to keep your foot flat in dirty air, in the wet, heading down, it was absolutely incredible. I mean, he knew he had to commit. He knew this was really the one chance to get it done, and it was perfectly executed, brilliant slipstream, and then laid on the brakes. And that was really the Grand Prix one right there.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, looking at the strategy, obviously, from that point onward, they did do a split strategy, Ruth. Do you think that was the right decision there?
You know what? I think it's the right decision for us at home because to
which
me,
we like. We're
love
supporters of that.
Shows a complete change in the McLaren from 12 months ago to the McLaren that we have now. It reminded me a little bit of what Red Bull did back in 2023, back when they had both Max Verstappen and Checo taking race wins from each other. And in the Miami Grand Prix 2023, they let them race. They split the strategy rather than going for their equivalent of papaya rules. I think theirs will be some kind of violet rules. But by splitting the strategy, we've now set a precedence, which is we are not racing any other team. It's such a confidence boost sending out. It's a moment for me where McLaren is saying, we think we've got this Constructors' Championship wrapped up. So we're happy to start taking a little bit of risk with whoever is the second driver to give them the opportunity to race each other. I love it. You know, I was raised at Ferrari where we all about the Drivers' Championship. I think it's great. And speaking to both of the guys, Lando and Oscar this morning, I think they're up for it. I think they're ready for a challenge. And it means that whoever's parked it on pole, it's not over.
Yeah.
They know that the driver behind them could potentially go for another strategy option. Best cars, best racing. I love it. Bring it on.
Yeah, we do love an intra-team battle, that is for sure. Now, if you remember, of course, this was Oscar Piastri's first win here at the Hungaroring last year, but it was slightly bittersweet. Take a listen to the team radio that went down.
Okay, Lando, Oscar has just pitted. He will likely come out just behind you. We'd like to re-establish the order at your convenience. We need you to save more tyres, please, and we do want to let Oscar through.
We should have boxed him first then, surely, no?
Doesn't matter.
I mean, it does. For me, maybe.
And Lando, there are 5 laps to go. The way to win a championship is not by yourself, it's with the team. You're going to need Oscar, and you're going to need the team.
A swap of positions. Oscar Piastri goes back through into the lead of a Grand Prix.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks for the coordination. Yeah, sorry. I made the swap a little bit more painful than it needed to be, but first F1 win. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Well, perhaps a slightly bittersweet way to win, but a win is still a win. And from that moment, he has gone on to take 8 career wins to date. But now it is time to hear how he is feeling ahead of this race weekend.
Every weekend now it has been, or the last few weekends anyway, it's been Lando and I, I expect our competition to still be strong and put up a good fight, especially at certain tracks through the rest of the year. But whether that comes from Max or Ferrari or Mercedes or someone else maybe, we never really know. So, I'm not too concerned about what happens in that. I'm just trying to win each race and extend the lead. But, I think clearly Lando and I are in the same car, which is the best. And, he's naturally going to be the closest competition. Hungary has been historically a good track for us as a team. Certainly the 2 years I've been with the team. So, I expect us to be strong again this weekend. But, there's been tracks this year where we thought we would be very strong compared to our competition, and they were closer than we thought. And there's been other tracks where we thought, our competition would be very close, and actually the gap was bigger than we thought. So you never know, but I expect us to still be at the front.
Lovely stuff. So, I mean, ultimately, listening to what Oscar's saying there, is the pressure really on Lando Norris at this race weekend, Ruth?
For me, yes, because Lando really wants to go into the championship with a win, close that battle up. And more than that, this track historically favours Lando's driving style. You know, he parked it on pole in Monaco. This is the closest you get to Monaco without the wall. Low speed cornering. It's where he's historically had the upper hand and still right now has the upper hand on Oscar. He wants to win this one and he needs to win this one. It's almost kind of like Lando turf, if that makes sense. And I think, you know, if you look at the kind of the mission creep, it's all about momentum, especially going into that long summer break. You want to be focused on coming off of a good win rather than a bad race weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a little look back at last year's poll. Hinch, maybe you can talk us through how to put in the perfect lap at the Hungaroring.
Yeah, I can talk you through it. I mean, obviously, it was the man Lando Norris that did it. And here's how you really want to start it. A little bit of a toe from the car in front. We've seen pole position decided here by less than half of a tenth of a second. So even that little bit of a jump from the car in front, that's going to help you down to start this lap into turn one. Biggest brake zone, best passing opportunity. So much time to be made up on the brakes. Even if you are a little bit off the apex like he was there, the time gained on entry is going to be the difference maker here. Down into turn two, downhill, long corner. You really need the front end of the car to be working well. Keep it pinned. Flat through turn three as you dip down and head back up into one of the coolest corners on the racetrack. Turn four, blind entry, so easy to carry too much speed and end up on that exit curve and lose time. Turn five, again, really needing the front end strong there into the chicane here. Curb riding, absolutely key, something the McLaren has been strong at. And this section here, kind of through the S's, 8 and 9, really quick transition there. Flat out through 10, then watch the lift from the throttle, then right back for 11. So committed for Lando Norris. This McLaren, incredible in those faster sections. And as we head down now to the last few corners, again, long duration. Got to roll that speed in. Make sure you keep the minimums up, and then through this final corner, what's so impressive is how early he can commit to that full throttle, that combined acceleration and cornering. Such a strength of this McLaren, and that's how Lando got it done last year.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Hinch. And also a big thank you to all of the amazing McLaren supporters here. Give us a wave, guys. They are here supporting both. I've been trying to look at it, the signs. They're kind of evenly matched between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. But obviously, I mean, well, maybe not obviously. Is it going to be Ferrari chasing the tails of McLaren today?
I think in qualifying, yes. You know, race pace, I think, is slightly more of a question mark, but they were really buoyed by their performance in Spa, and well done to both of the drivers. Charles, stunning drive. But let's not forget, Lewis made 6 positions with that bold strategy call, nailed it, overtaking. I think they're going to come off the back of that, wanting to seal that kind of, you know, P3 potentially on the podium.
The second best team is going to be Max Verstappen. You're forgetting something here. Yes, I think the Ferrari will be better than the Mercedes, but you're forgetting the Max factor. He's still going to be in the mix there. He's so strong here. He's so strong over a lap. So I still think he's going to be giving the McLarens a run for their money in qualifying.
All right, fair enough. And what about the upgrades as well? Because there's a 28-point deficit between Ferrari and Mercedes at the moment. Ferrari's upgrades, they came, but are we going to get a closer look? Can we see more performance from them? There was an uplift, but maybe not as much as they were hoping for.
We'll definitely get a better look at it because that was a sprint weekend. We've got 3 practice sessions here. I think all of the teams who brought upgrades to Belgium, there was a lot of them, Red Bull, Williams included, they just didn't really get a proper read of them. So, and then obviously we had the wet weather. So I think Ferrari will really be hoping to learn from that rear suspension that they tested at the filming day ahead of Spa. So it was clearly an important piece of kit that they were adding to the car. And then they brought it to Spa, and there Charles Leclerc was saying actually he did feel like it was a step forward. He was actually positively encouraged in the way that he was able then to set up the car, and it made him feel more comfortable. So yeah, I think actually I agree in the sense that Ferrari probably are going to be the closest challenger. I'm not sure about Max around here, but I do think Ferrari are going to be the closest challenger on a weekend, obviously, where they've just announced that Fred Vasseur signed a multi-year deal.
Yeah, amazing news.
And it kind of just, I think that just ends up put a calm back into the team. You know, around Canada, it was so difficult for the team when the Italian press did those stories. Fred said they were disrespectful. He was saying it was hurting the team. And you kind of felt that maybe the morale dropped a little bit. You know, of the 2.5 years he'd spent trying to build that morale up, it kind of took a big hit. So I think for them to put that out shows the trust that senior management have in Fred going forward. And, you know, this could be a turning point this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of my old boss, Fred. I think he had it in the bag. Easy re-sign. I would re-sign him any day. But I think that upgrade really did work. You know, here, it's a lot less bumpy historically nowadays than Spa. And if you can run the car low enough in Spa, they can be able to play around with that ride height here. And if they can do that and get the rhythm, especially in Sector 2 here, I think Charles and even Lewis can make a step. And I think you'll find, actually, if Max Verstappen was a team, he would be last. Actually, Hinch.
Ruth, talk to us about the compromise in corner speeds. Mercedes might not have to make such a compromise. So do you think it's going to favour them a little bit more? See a bit more performance from them?
Oh,
No,
yes.
by the judge of that face.
Yes and no. As Toto Wolff says, you know, their corner speeds do help them. There's less of those high speed, less of those medium speeds. But none of us are wearing jumpers. And he has said that car does struggle, you know, George as well. It is a kind of, you know, English weathered car. And we are currently in glorious sunshine. So I think they'll probably be doing, you know, a rain or at least a cool weather dance for Sunday. You know, I think we're already splitting between a Ferrari and a Max Verstappen for P3. So I don't think I can also hedge my bets and add Mercedes without sounding like too much of an
You can do whatever you want.
I'm saying
We're not going to judge.
I'm not going to be
Or maybe we might judge a little bit. Well, should we find out how the two Mercedes drivers are feeling? I know after the back of last race, George was saying we're going to have a big meeting. We're going to regroup. We're going to decide the future. Let's find out what the future is.
Our performance as a team has gone backwards in the last 6 or 7 races, and we're trying to unpick why that may have been. I think there's a number of factors at play. Obviously, we struggle a bit in the hotter conditions. Spa wasn't hot, but generally we struggle in the hotter conditions. We're now in summer, start of a season was spring, and we brought some little things with updates, and we think that may not have been performing as we hoped, so we'll revert back on some small items. So I think potentially just lost our way slightly, and just going to go back to basics, focus on the main parts of the car and see where that takes us.
Definitely try to rest and trying to, you know, reflect on the previous races and trying to understand where I could have done better and how. And but definitely also I took time for myself. I did some fun activities such as driving my remote control car and you know, all activities that helps to the mindset and helps to get back even stronger on track. So definitely also been trying to prepare the weekend the best way as possible, and yeah, now I feel happy. I'm really happy to be here, and you know, I'm ready to give my best before heading to summer break.
Oh, it's good to see Kimi Antonelli without a tissue in his hand, isn't it? That was such an emotional moment last time out in Spa after qualifying. But is he in just a bit of a crisis confidence at the moment? I mean, hopefully a little ride of his remote control car will bring him back onto top form. But he's had no points in the European races. He must be at a very difficult moment in his career.
I honestly don't think it's a crisis of confidence. I just think it's his rookie year and he's at a big team and he's under a lot of pressure. And you know, we saw his performance in Miami when he got that pole. We saw that podium that he got in Canada. So clearly he's got the talent that Mercedes believed in him when they promoted him. But we're also seeing a very young kid who, when things go badly and then they consistently go badly, it's really quite hard for him to take. And he was super emotional when he came into the TV pen. He just needed to take some time, but he's a kid still.
I think the other thing to remember, guys, is that when the car is performing well, it's easier for the drivers to kind of rise to the occasion. When the car's really struggling for performance, which the Mercedes is now. Start of the year, it was strong. George was getting podiums. Kimi was pulling off some great results, like you said, in Miami. Since they've had this shift in philosophy, the upgrades, it's really brought the relative performance back. George is hanging on to top fives on a good day, and the inexperience of Kimi is really showing. So I think it's important for a young kid to realize the bigger picture. He's only, you know, just over a dozen races into his F1 career. I don't think we're pulling alarm bells just yet.
And Ruth, I mean, you could say that a similar situation is going on at Red Bull at the moment. I mean, you look at what happened with Yuki Tsunoda. He had a great qualifying session in Spa, and then it all slightly fell away during the course of the race. I mean, is that a consequence of strategy? Is that a consequence of not getting to grips with the car, not being the #1 driver? What's going on there?
Well, I mean, F1 isn't a finishing school. You know, as sad as it is, there's only 20 slots, and we want the 20 best drivers there, ideally, and you know, you want the best drivers in the best teams. And you look at this team, you look at Red Bull, you know, Yuki's, it's a tale of two halves. I think we shouldn't forget just how good a driver Max is in order to be able to drive that car the way he did. He was faster through Puon than the McLaren, and he has absolutely no right through the laws of physics to be. So I don't even think that Yuki did a particularly bad job. You know, he did a great job in qualifying. The team admitted that they called him in too late. He went round another time. That one lap cost Lando Norris the gap between 1.9 and 9 seconds with a slow pit stop. So I don't think he did a bad job, to be honest. I think he drove to the limit of the car, just like as we're saying that, you know, Antonelli driving to the limit of the car potentially, and George, we're seeing him outperform the car.
And I think for him to be driving to the limit of the car is impressive, given they only put that new floor on between the sprint and quali, so he had no testing time with that. They made a ton of setup changes as well. And then given the confidence he's lacked actually in qualifying, for him to go through all 3 parts of quali and make it into Q3 is a really good job, and he would have got points, I think, without miscommunication. So he just needs a smooth weekend, ideally here, before he goes on his summer holidays.
Well, one driver who is having a relatively good season. It's been a very smooth season so far for Alex Albon at Williams. Let's hear how he's feeling ahead of the weekend.
Alex, it's been a heck of a first half to the season, and we've got one more to go. Firstly, when you look back on the season as a whole, you must be maybe overwhelmed at how good it's been. And secondly, what do you think you can do this weekend?
Yes, I'm really proud of everyone. I feel like as a team, we've made a huge step, and we've had the results to back it. I feel like we've optimised pretty much every race that we've been able to finish, and it's been one of them years so far where everything's just in that good flow state, and we just go to every weekend scoring points. So I'm very happy. So yeah.
Do you think that can continue this weekend?
This weekend, I think if you told me the 2 tracks that we struggle with, it's always Barcelona and Hungary. So we're kind of coming to our second bogey track. We have our upgrade. And even in Barcelona this year, when we struggled, we still qualified P11. So let's see. I don't know if I've made Q2 here in my time at Williams. Just kind of shows you the work we have here. But never say never. I think we have a good car, and I'm feeling good with the car. So let's see.
Yeah, it was an absolutely solid performance, qualifying in P6, finishing the race in P5 last time out. But this is a very different track. How is it going to suit the Williams? He doesn't sound hugely confident there, Lawrence.
No, he actually seemed reasonably downbeat, didn't he? I think, look, if you're going to have 2 bogey tracks in the whole year, and this is one of them, I think given the gap that they've got in the Constructors' Championship, they're pretty comfortable in P5. I think they'll probably just use this mostly as a learning weekend. You know, they brought that new upgrade package that they've been working on for several months to Belgium. They didn't get a proper read of it in Belgium, so they'll want to learn a lot more about that coming into this weekend. And I think really generally as a team, they'll want Carlos Sainz to have a smooth weekend, because he's a different problem, I think, every single race so far this weekend and this year, and he hasn't really got on top of it.
I don't know how easy it is to swing round in a moment, but we can see currently we're standing by Fernando Alonso's garage. Alonso's in the car at the moment, having conversations, quite detailed conversations with his engineers. James, can you just talk us through the changes that they need to make at the moment to get a quick car? Well, that's probably the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I'd be employed by Aston Martin if I had those answers. But no, at the end of the day, you know, this car still just seems like it's lacking downforce. They did do some upgrades earlier in the year that kind of brought them up, but as the rest of the midfield has developed, they've fallen a little bit back down. Really tough weekend last time out in Spa. Can they do something here? It's tough to see a big jump happening, you know, overnight like that, but at the same time, in Fernando Alonso's hands, anything can happen. And he is just so good at getting more out of a race car than it really deserves to be performing. So we'll see.
Look at the expression there. He looks quite upbeat and quite happy. So, you know, you never know.
Well, I was going to say, he's with the team doctor and his mechanics. He's probably just getting himself into a comfy position. That's the insider knowledge you don't have. They're not engineers. But no, I think the Aston Martin round here, you know, in Monaco they did really well, but that's because they could play with the strategy. They use that medium tyre that works so well. We don't have the same compounds here. I think it's going to be tricky, and I think speaking to them, they're really worried a little bit about the RBs, about, you know, Hajar and Lawson coming through, and I think they're really taking a step-by-step approach. But if there's any place to do it, it's here. And Fernando has always been a big fan of this. He once sat on a deck chair before holiday here, so let's see if he does the same.
Yeah, I think he took one of his first wins here as well. One of his first wins? Is that a thing? I don't think it is. You can only win once for the first time.
I think it was, though. I think you're right.
Anyway, now it is time to hear from Esteban Ocon, who has had a pretty solid season so far, currently P10th in the championship.
Well, how do you see it panning out this weekend? The car has been strong since the updates in particular, particularly through faster corners, actually. How do you think it will perform here?
Yeah, no reason why we shouldn't be able to perform. It's a track that I really enjoy, obviously that I have great memories from. I'm looking forward to see what this car can do. But for sure, since the update, we really have been able to do a step forward in terms of where we position ourselves. Now, it's easier said than done, that we can get into the right zone. Qualifying is going to be super important. So we need to maximize that. And there could be some rain again. So, it's 2 races in a row where we didn't maximize our strategy and where we should have ended up. So hopefully the third one will be the good one.
Brilliant stuff. Great to hear from Esteban Ocon there, expecting to hopefully have a good one. So the question is, what is going to happen towards the back end? Alpine, Haas, Sauber as well. Where would your bets go, Lawrence, looking at past performance and actually what we saw in Spa as well?
I think we're looking at momentum. Sauber are probably one of the midfield teams that are really coming on. The last 2 months, they've had a really strong car. We don't have to look past that, obviously, that podium for Nico Hülkenberg finally at Silverstone. They seem to hit on a sweet spot, I think. Since Jonathan Whitley's come in, he's running the team well. But to be fair to him, he said, look, a lot of the work's been done already beforehand by Mattia Binotto. But they just seem to be into this rhythm. They've clearly found a sweet spot, like I said, with the car and the setup. Nico said it took him a bit of time early in the year to kind of get comfortable with the car, and he's found his rhythm. And him and Gabriele Bortoleto are dovetailing so nicely as a pairing. They kind of seem to be like geeing each other on. So actually, I think they're the ones to watch from the midfield around here.
But then you got to look at driver confidence, which we talk about, and Esteban Ocon, he's got his one and only Grand Prix win here, so he circles this track every time. Every time a season starts as one that he might have an opportunity to have a strong day. And like we said, it does sometimes throw some mixed results up. It's just so tough with us. They've been so kind of hit and miss. On their good weekends, they've been so strong. But on the weekends they've been off, it's been a real struggle for them, sometimes locking out the back row of the grid. They didn't get points in Spa. They probably should have based on pace, just maybe called that one a little bit off. So, again, they could be right up there. It's too close to call right now.
And then what if we throw Racing Bulls in the mix as well?
Yeah, I was going to say, I got a chance to chat to Alan Permain, new team principal over there, and he wants that P7 by shutdown. I think it's possible here. I think they're my dark horse from the midfield. 2 really good drivers on these technical circuits. If you look at the form round, Monaco, I think they could be the ones to watch. But then we haven't actually mentioned Pierre Gasly, who has done so well recently, and especially...
Can you just do that one more time?
Pierre Gasly.
Oh, very nice.
Stunning. I do that to him as well. It's great. It scares him. But yeah, no, I think his form cannot be understated. His ability to deliver in those changeable conditions with a car that, I would think everybody around there would say he's outperforming that car. So I don't want to count him out either.
Now, James, while we all kind of go off and, look forward to having a bit of a break soon, I believe you are looking forward to getting your hands. You are driving the Haas car in Mugello. How did you wangle that? Who do you know to make that happen? That's incredible.
I'm pleading the fifth here. I cannot give away exactly how this came to be, but man, am I excited to get behind the wheel of a Formula One car. Huge thanks to Haas for allowing me this opportunity. And yeah, while everyone's off at summer break, I'm going to be at the gym working on my neck because it's been a while since I've driven a high downforce race car, and we're going to Mugello of all places. That's a very fast, demanding racetrack, but it's going to be an awful lot of fun.
I was going to ask about the gym, but then I thought that would be rude. But how do you prepare to drive a Formula One car? Wow. Yeah, and you haven't got a huge amount of time to do it.
I haven't, no. But honestly, the neck is the biggest thing. That's way past the performance level that I'm used to in an Indy car, even though that's a pretty quick, it's the second fastest open wheel car in the world behind a Formula One car. And even that's not going to have the grip even close to what we're going to experience at Mugello. So it was an interesting day at the factory down there in Banbury. A lot of buttons I got to learn. A lot of homework I've got to do.
Don't press the wrong one.
Well, that's just it, right? Don't hit the red button, right? That's what they always tell you. No, but again, it's something I'm very excited about. Already talking to the engineers about what the run plan's going to be. We're taking this pretty seriously, guys. I'm really excited.
And they're giving you what, 1 lap, is it?
No, I think I'm going to get a few more than that. I hope. I don't know. I'm just happy either way.
Hopefully not a 2-hour race, though.
No, I don't want to do that.
But very exciting. Let's quickly touch upon Alpine as well, because Colapinto at the moment, obviously looking for the first points of the season. What do we think the expectations are coming here?
Well, I think Franco's kind of on a race by race at the minute, where the team are just assessing how his performance is. At the minute, it doesn't look like they're going to make any changes with that seat, but they obviously brought him in for Jack Doohan and was hoping he was going to make that step. And he hasn't really kind of delivered that big step. Talk to anyone in the team, and they'll tell you actually he's performing well. He's just not able to pull it all together, and he just hasn't really got the results. And it comes at a really interesting time, I think, for Alpine, because obviously Luca De Meo, the Renault Group CEO, has departed. They've appointed a new CEO, Francois Prevost, and it will be interesting to see what he wants to do with the team kind of going forward. We've got Steve Nielsen, of course, joining as managing director, I think the 1st of September. So they're kind of going through an evolution a little bit down at Alpine. So let's see whether or not Franco Colapinto figures in that future. But for now, he's got that seat, and he's got a weekend to try and prove he should be there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be keeping our fingers crossed those points that come in. Now, over the course of the weekend, as well as all the on-track action, you've got plenty to look forward to here with F1 TV. James, you're going to be having a bit of fun around the track, doing a track guide for us. And also, we have a features interview with both Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. I believe both with you, Lawrence.
Yes, that's
excellent stuff. We look forward to hearing what they're going to say. And if you want to know how to catch it, join us, because this is the weekend schedule. This is how it is looking. So FP1 is going to be kicking off tomorrow afternoon at 1:15 local track time. Then join us later in the afternoon, as it will hopefully get a little bit cooler in the afternoon. 4:45 will be FP2. Then join us on Saturday, FP3 will get underway for our 12:15 show. Then we have a lovely half-hour pre-qualifying build-up, with qualifying going live at 4 o'clock. And then it is our pre-race show, 1 hour, live on the grid, bringing you all the interviews, hearing from all the drivers that you want to hear from. And then 3 o'clock, the Hungarian Grand Prix will get underway. And don't go anywhere, because of course we then have our post-race show as well. So there you have it. That is your weekend schedule. That is how things are going to be looking this weekend. A quick one, Ruth. We haven't really touched upon the strategy yet. The queen of the strategy. Where is your head at? What do you think the teams are going to be doing? A 1, a 2?
Well,
giving a dance between the both?
It lives on a knife edge between a 1 and a 2 stop every single year. And even the fastest race on paper may not be the race-winning strategy. So going into the race weekend, it is the classic 1 versus a 2 stop, medium hard, or using the medium and the hards in a 2 stop. That's soft, probably only going to see it on qualifying. But the really interesting thing is, even if this 2 stop is faster on paper, traffic makes such an important difference here. It's the 4th hardest overtake of the season. But we have seen years where, even though when it has been a 1 stop, we've seen cars at the front shoot off and add an extra stop. When have we seen that, Nicki? 1998, Michael Schumacher, copied by 2023, Max Verstappen, and potentially we could even see that with a little bit of split strategy at the front with a McLaren. I can't wait.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All the insight from Ruth Buscombe. Thank you. Guys, where's your head at? Where are your race predictions going to go?
Well, firstly, I'm looking forward to FP1. I know that's an odd thing to hear me say, but actually Paul Aron's going to get his 2nd run for the Sauber team, and I always do like to see the young talent coming through. Obviously, the teams have to give out their seat a couple of times per car each year to run young drivers, so it'll be good to see him. What I'm looking forward to, whether or not Ferrari can be a real thorn in McLaren's side, and whether or not James Hinchcliffe's prediction that Max is going to be in the fight comes through.
I mean, for me, it kind of goes on the Ferrari thing as well. I really want to see how Lewis Hamilton gets on this weekend. This is a track that he absolutely loves. 9 poles, 8 wins. I know he said Spa was a bit of a weekend to forget, but that race was a really impressive come through the field. If those upgrades with a little bit more practice time are starting to really make him gel with that race car, I think that could be an exciting thing to watch. So between that and then which way the sort of momentum goes in the title battle between the 2 McLaren guys, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Go on then. A name for the race win. Hit me.
Lando.
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 Oh.
Boring.
Boring. Well, let's find out if they are right. Join us tomorrow. We will get FP1 underway at 1:15. A weekend of absolutely incredible action. These guys are here for it. Hope you are too. We cannot wait to get underway. And I promise not to subconsciously dress like the Formula One logo. I won't do that again. I learnt my lesson. It was a subconscious decision. Anyway, thank you so much from all of us and the team, and we will see you tomorrow.
We have counted down the hours. Welcome to the Hungarian Grand Prix. And we go racing! Oh, big crash! Both cars are out again. Piastri takes the lead of the race. It's a bold move. There he locks up and he makes contact with his old rival. Trying to rescue himself. Fabled venue which has seen 5 first-time winners.
Esteban Ocon wins.
Woo! This Grand Prix takes another twist. For the first time in Formula One, Oscar Piastri wins.
Really good weekend. Thank you, everyone.